This is the Radio Silly Video News, brought to you in association with Worldwide Financial Planning. For advice on inheritance tax, business finance, mortgages, debt consolidation, investment and pensions, Matt Hyam from Worldwide Financial Planning is on the islands at the Atlantic Hotel on the first Thursday of every month. The Radio Silly Video News also brought to you in association with Truro and Penwith College. Find out about courses you can enjoy here on the islands or on the mainland at truro.ac.uk and listen out for one of 365 great reasons to visit Truro College every day on Radio Silly. One of the organisers of the island's walking festival, Walk Silly, says she's happy with the turnout for the event. Only around 30 people turned up for the charity closing walk, but the weather wasn't at its best, of course. Sophie Hughes says there's still number crunching to do to find out the final figures of the number of people attracted to the islands for the event, but she says there's a lot that we can be proud of and learn from.
Just the flexibility of the guides. A lot of the guides at short notice put on additional walks when the walks on the off islands had to be cancelled, and I've got a huge appreciation for them for doing so, because it's a bit of a challenge to just pull something out of the bag sometimes, and they've been fantastic.
One of the regulars at Walk Silly is Ros from Bath, and she says she's been to every single one of the 4 festivals and is a real committed fan. She enjoyed the fact that the Folk Festival was run in tandem with the event this year.
I think it's been better in that there's been more folk events that's been coinciding, because I couldn't walk very much, but I could actually sit and listen to the music, which is fantastic for me.
This year, Walk Silly was held to coincide with Easter instead of kick-starting the season earlier in the year. Sophie says this was at the direction of people in the tourism sector. There may be some tweaking of events next year, though.
The one thing with having a charity walk on a Saturday means that quite a lot of the islanders are tied up with their own sort of businesses and stuff like that. So it's going to be might be better perhaps to put that on a Sunday next year when they maybe have a little bit more free time. But there's lots of little things that we're going to look at and just assess whether it was a success and then go from there.
St Mary's Police have been talking about the extra strength they'll have for the World Pilots Gig Championships weekend. Officers will be drafted in from Camborne, according to PC Matt Collier.
It's a policing team from Camborne. They're
Okay.
the targeted policing team, and there's only 4 on the team, so they're all coming over.
A whole lot?
Yeah, and they enjoy it. I think 3 of them have been over before for the last 2 years, I think, so they know how it works over here, and yeah, they've got a sort of good idea, and they're sort of reasonably sensible in their policing style.
Twice a year, the road vehicle inspection team come to the islands to make sure that all vehicles on the roads are roadworthy. There have been concerns in the past that there are cars driving around that really shouldn't be. We don't have the MOTs that you get on the mainland here, and that's presented a difficulty in deciding what should be on the roads and what should not. But police say they now have a solution.
We have a scheme or a thing on the mainland called the VDRS, which is the Vehicle Defect Rectification Scheme, and put simply, that basically, it's a form that you can give somebody rather than prosecuting them for having a vehicle that's a bit of a heap. You can detail some problems that it's got with it. For example, more sort of minor issues like headlights being out, a tyre slightly worn, things like that sort of stuff. And they get given 14 days to get it repaired, and they have to take it along to an approved MOT station and get it signed off by them and then send it in to us. We have a slight glitch with that.
Yeah, no MOT station.
No MOT station, indeed. And we've been in conversation with our Force Legal Department about quite what we can do, and at the moment we're in the process of sort of drafting some form of legally worded letter where we can hand this out to people who we believe have got vehicles with slight defects in them, basically giving them a warning and making an arrangement for when VOSA, the Vehicle Standards Agency, the people that look after, or come over twice a year, I think it is, and check vehicles, when they make an appointment for them to check the vehicle out with them. So we're sort of trying to have a Solonian twist on the vehicle defect scheme, because obviously we have our slight issues over here with MOTs and other bits and bobs. We just want to make sure that vehicles are of a roadworthy standard. I mean, an MOT in itself basically states that vehicle is legal for one day of the year.
Yes.
And there's an awful lot of vehicles that when you take them along for an MOT, they fail. And the onus on any vehicle driver is to keep that vehicle maintained to a roadworthy standard throughout the year. So, people over here have got that legal duty as well.
Have you ever responded to a message you found in a bottle? Well, Brian Stoyle of Newbury in Berkshire found one washed up on the beaches of St Agnes around this time last year. He didn't think, though, he'd get a reply when he wrote back to the sender in Newfoundland.
We found a message in a bottle, which is a rare thing. We found it on the far side of Agnes last year, around about this time last year.
And did it have anything inside it?
It did. It was actually a message in a bottle. It was a strange shaped bottle for this area. Obviously, you do find a lot of plastic bottles on the beach. It just stuck out as being a different shaped bottle, so I picked it up and jokingly threw it to the wife and said, "There's a message in there." She opened it up, and there actually was a message in there. It was dropped from a fishing survey vessel off of St John's, Newfoundland.
Brian has been sent a gift by his new international pen friend.
It did say a small reward was offered if the message was sent back to the sender, which we did. About 6 weeks later, we got a great big package sent from St John's in Newfoundland with a whole host of information about the fishery survey vessel, and a small gift was given, which was an address book, and all the information about the fishing vessel that dropped the bottle.
Scilly's got its newest tour operator. HF Holidays' first package trip to the islands came with Janet, an executive from the company. She says the pilot visit, which brought in 14 tourists, went very well, and the company will be arranging for many more groups to visit Scilly this year.
I think we're all quite taken aback with how lovely it is. I've been here before, of course, but for some of my guests it's been the first time. Today we've just had a beautiful day on Tresco, despite the strong winds.
How many of you have come over?
There's 14 of us in this group, and there should be a few more groups coming later in the year.
An unusual sight greeted people eating at Carnveen as they opened up for the Easter weekend. People are used to seeing their birds in their aviary, but weren't expecting to see 2 reindeer. Stella Wyburn-Risdale had taken her 2 pets for a walk up to the St Mary's attraction.